What's up, friends? My name is Veronica, and right now I'm going to show you how to play an E or E major chord on your guitar. So first things first, make sure your guitar is in tune. If you don't know how to do that, I will link a video here that shows you how to tune your guitar. And once you're all set, let's go ahead and dive right in. All right, so quick string name review. If you're looking at the strings in terms of numbers, we're gonna start at the bottom of the strings, which is the thinnest string. That'll be your string number 1. Then going up the line, string 2, string 3, 4, 5, and 6. If we're looking at the strings in terms of note names or letter names, we're gonna start at the top. So we have E, A, D, G, B, and E. Or Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie. Now we're gonna get into E major here. For E major, we are using 3 strings. That is string number 3, 4, and 5, or strings A, D, and G. I'm gonna be using the 1st fret and the 2nd fret, and I'm looking in between these upright vertical lines to determine my frets. I wanna be in between those lines. So I'm gonna put my pointer finger down first, or finger number 1, and that's gonna go on the G string or string number 3, 1st fret. Then I'm gonna take my middle 2 fingers, or finger 2 and finger 3, and I'm gonna glue them together and place them down on the 2nd fret on strings 4 and 5, or strings D and A. Now from there, I'm gonna curve my fingers over, so I'm pushing the strings down from the tops of my fingers. In fact, you can kind of see these little indents where I'm pushing, and I want to have my nails pretty short so that I don't have to use the pads of my fingers to push down. If my nails are short, it allows me to really get up on top of the string and use the tops of my fingers, not my fingerprint per se. Now, sometimes my students get E minor and E major mixed up. So think of E minor, which is the first video I showed on playing chords. That one was just here, right, on the A and D strings, or strings 5 and 4, and it was only using 2 fingers. E minor makes up part of E major, so I'm just gonna switch to my middle 2 fingers and place my pointer finger on the G string or the 3rd string. So hopefully you can see that okay. Now, this is the way that I prefer to arrange my fingers for an E major. Some people might go here. I find that this is the most common. So what that is middle finger, or finger number 2 is on your A string, and then your ring finger or finger 3 is right below that, and then your pointer finger on the 1st fret on the G string, or string number 3 is right below that. But there's not one way to do chords. So if this version makes more sense to you, or if you'd like to go here, it's really what makes sense to you, what's comfortable in your hand, and it makes it easy to transition from chord to chord. So play around with it, find what works for you. But again, I am a subscriber to this version of E major. Then for the E string, we are going to play all 6 strings for this one. So generally, chords that are in the E family, we will use the E string as our root note. So we will play all 6 strings here. Last thing is to make sure when you push down that you're kind of using your hand like a clamp almost. So you're pushing your thumb into the back of the neck. And I'm not using turn it this way. I'm not trying to push this way or even this way. I know it's so hard to see on this video, but I'm using more kind of this joint in the finger here. So you can see my thumb hanging out over the top a little bit. So I'm pushing my thumb towards the neck, and I'm pushing my fingers also towards the neck. So thumb and fingers are moving towards each other, and that's gonna help really solidify that pressure that you have on the strings, so they make firm contact with the neck. Now let's give this a strum and see what it sounds like. That is your E or E major chord. Now, a couple things here. If you find that you're struggling, right? If you've got your finger positioning, but for some reason it's not sounding very good, there's a couple things that could be happening. Number one, you might not be pushing hard enough, right? So go back to those technique points I mentioned earlier. Make sure you're really pushing down firmly on those strings so they are making very firm contact with the neck or the fretboard. Try it again. Now, if it's still not sounding good, it could be that your fingers are still accidentally touching other strings. So curve your fingers over, use the tops of your fingers. Remember those cat claws that I talked about earlier, and just do a quick troubleshoot, right? Go down the line one string at a time. If you hear a buzzy sound or a buzzy string, then push down, adjust your fingers, go down the line, each string one at a time until everything sounds good, and then try that strum again. So I hope that's helpful. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments. But otherwise, if you found this video helpful, I would really, really appreciate you hitting that thumbs up button, subscribing to this channel. All of that helps me out a lot, and it helps make these videos easier to find for other people like you who are learning how to play guitar. So I hope to see you back here more often. Until next time.